What's up YouTube? It's Coach Corey and today we got a guide on how to play Penny. So let's get into it. Alright, well I got Penny to over 500 trophies in just a little over 3 days since she came out. I have loved playing her. I don't know about you guys, but I am excited to give you all my tips on how to play Penny. I think she is a really interesting support brawler in the game. Now, Penny is very similar to Jessie in that with her super, she has a turret, which is a cannon in her case. And let's talk about her stats a little bit. Penny has a pretty long range, actually a little bit longer than Colt's, but she has a slow reload, a little bit over 2 seconds. And her shot is really narrow, so it can be hard to hit sometimes. So when you're playing Penny, you want to be really patient with your shots. Use your range to your advantage, but take your time and line up those good shots before you start doing a bunch of shots in a row, as it can be definitely easy to miss shots with Penny, and you want to try and be careful and take your time with your shots. Now with Penny's shot, when she does hit an object, a person, a showdown box, 3 coins fly out behind the object and deal the same amount of damage as her normal shot. So this can be really useful whenever you hit someone and there's an enemy right behind them. You can deal over 2,000 or 3,000 damage to that person right behind them, which is a really great way to get damage with Penny. It's definitely something you want to look out for when you're playing Penny. Try and line up some shots, try and get that second hit behind the first person. Now about her cannon is able to shoot over walls. It has a range of about 12 tiles, so pretty long, but it does have a slow move speed as far as slow movement speed, and it has a slow reload speed, about 3-second reload. Now with her cannon, it's pretty easy to avoid. If you're just running in a straight direction in any way you go, you're gonna avoid her artillery. But if you do move sort of like forwards and backwards, you might get hit, or if you're standing still, you're definitely gonna get hit. So while it's pretty easy to avoid, it can provide a lot of constant pressure, and it's something you don't have to manage. It can be great to place a long distance away behind a wall where it's hard for the enemy to reach. That can just constantly engage in the action, and the enemy might easily forget about it and then be dealt a lot of damage. And with her star power is whenever her turret dies, about 6 bombs pop out of wherever her turret was, 2 to 6 tiles away. It's definitely random, and each bomb does the same amount as a normal artillery shot, which can be definitely a good amount of damage, but because it's so random, it's really hard to control. One thing you can do if you have her star power and you have an extra turret, if there's an enemy by your turret and isn't killing it, just place down another turret and your star power will just explode, and hopefully you get a little bit of extra damage that way. And with Penny, since her shot is so narrow, it's unfortunate I have to say this, but honestly, auto-aiming with her is a not bad solution if they're within about half of her range. If you're doing any long-range shots, though, I definitely wouldn't use auto-aim. It's typically not very accurate at long distance, so try and aim your shots manually at the least from long distance. But if you're getting in a lot of close combat situations, her auto-aim ability is definitely a lot more accurate. Now, as far as her best events, in my opinion, Gem Grab is definitely her best event, but she's also sneaky good in Showdown, where she can use that ability of her normal shot to hit either a box or someone else and go through that box and deal a lot of damage behind it. It can definitely be really useful in Showdown. She's okay at Brawl Ball, definitely not bad there. Enemies tend to group up a good amount in Brawl Ball, so you can use her shot's ability to deal decent damage sometimes. But otherwise, she's not very good in Heist, as Heist people just tend to be too spread out and it's too fast paced, and Penny doesn't deal a lot of damage very fast, which tends to be needed for Heist. In Bounty, she's just okay, as it's hard for her to finish off kills a lot of times, but she can be not bad. She can be a decent supporting character. And then in Robo-Rumble, she's just okay, as her turret is basically useless, as robots basically never stay still. Not that often, tends to miss almost all of her shots. Her normal ability from her shot is not bad in Robo-Rumble, but she just has a slow reload. And then in boss fight, she's definitely not very good, as she does not do well versus 5 other enemies at once, and she doesn't do enough damage versus the boss. Now let's go into tips for each specific game mode. Alright, in Gem Grab, Penny is going to be the gem carrier. So at the start of the match, just always go towards the middle as Penny and look for some easy shots. If gems spawn on your side of the map, on your half of the gem mine, then you could go and get them. But otherwise, if they're on the enemy side, definitely don't go and get them until you get a kill or two. So early on in the game, you want to be focusing on attacking the other team's gem carrier for the most part. But as a Penny, you're not going to deal a lot of damage. So if you can get 1 or 2 shots on one of the enemies on the side that's attacking your teammates, and you can help get that first kill, that's definitely a better situation, as then you'll be able to help establish control of the map and start a spawn trap. Now with Penny, the enemy gem carrier on the opposite side of you is very important to keep in mind as far as who you're facing off against. As a Penny, honestly, your most preferable brawler to face off against for gem carrier is probably Poco, as oftentimes you can stay out of Poco's range. Even though you're not really going to get many kills versus Poco, you should be able to deal decent damage, as Poco will stay in fairly close range to you because he's going to try and get hits in, but you should be able to avoid a lot of damage from Poco. Some bad matchups as Penny is going to be Crow. Crow is probably the worst matchup for Penny, as it's really hard for Penny to hit Crow just with his faster move speed and Penny's really narrow shot. Pam is also not a great matchup. Even though Penny can get a good amount of hits on the Pam, it's really hard for the Penny to out-damage the Pam, as Pam has a long range herself, and it's just hard to deal enough damage because she has so much health. Now, as far as her turret, honestly, you're going to be placing it really similar like a Pam turret. You want to place it behind a wall on your side of the map, and if they have an enemy thrower, you're going to want to be careful about where you place your turret, though. If they do have an enemy thrower and you don't have control of the map, definitely place it a little bit further back, maybe 10 tiles away from the gem mine. Otherwise, it's going to be around 5 tiles away from the gem mine and somewhere behind a wall, definitely preferably behind a wall. Take advantage of the turret's ability to go over walls. Now, her best 3 maps in Gem Grab is probably going to be Crystal Cavern, Mushroom Cave, and Bone Box. As all those 3 maps, enemies tend to group up. There's narrow passageways where enemies group up, and you can take advantage of not only her normal attack, but also the splash from her artillery. And oftentimes, there's good placements for her turret that can be behind walls and shooting at enemies over a long range while being somewhat close to the gem mine. If you're going to push Penny, I would recommend going on those 3 specific maps. As far as good team comps with Penny and Gem Grab, there's honestly a lot of decent options, but since she doesn't deal a lot of damage by herself, you want to try and pair her up with some brawlers who can deal a lot of damage just by themselves, like a Ricochet or a Dynamite or a Spike even. Those are all great options to pair with Penny. And then of course, depending on the map, you want to make sure you're picking a comp that's good for the map. You could go with an aggro character like a Bull or a Daryl or a Shelly or a Tara or even a Nita. Those are all good aggro options. But Spike and Ricochet are 2 great brawlers to pair with Penny in general on almost every Gem Grab map. Now in Showdown, Penny is definitely a good option in Showdown. She doesn't deal a lot of damage. It might not be an obvious pick for Showdown, but because of her ability of her shot, she can get, not only can she get boxes quickly, but it can make it hard for the enemy to get boxes if she is near it, as anyone hiding behind a box is going to be dealt good damage from her normal attack, and she can do this while staying safe herself. So Penny definitely not bad option in Showdown. And then if you do get her turret and you do place it down, make sure to try and stick by it, as it's definitely much better to be with her turret than without it. So try and place it. It doesn't have to be too close to the middle, but somewhere close towards somewhat in range of it. And it obviously depends on the situation and how late in the game. With Penny though, you definitely might consider teaming, but that's going to have to consider at what trophy level you're playing at as well. Now in Brawl, well, Penny's okay in Brawl Ball, as enemies do group up there, but she doesn't open walls, which is definitely really useful in Brawl Ball, and she doesn't deal a ton of damage. So when you place her turret in Brawl Ball, you'd probably want to place it a little bit further back than you might in Gem Grab normally, as a lot of times there's not super great placements for her turret in Brawl Ball, so you tend to have to do more defensive turrets with Penny in Brawl Ball. If you're making a really big push, you could place an offensive turret, but it's really hard to do effectively and get much value out of it in Brawl Ball. Now in Brawl Ball, I think a general good comp with Penny, it is definitely map dependent, but a general good comp would be with Colt and with Tara, as Colt can open up a lot of walls and deal a lot of damage that Penny isn't able to deal by herself. And then Tara can be great aggro option that can also open up walls, but has a great super that can easily be defensive or offensive and works really well with Penny's shot as well to deal a lot of damage fast. As far as duo showdown, Penny is not bad there, as there's a lot of places where Penny can use the ability of her normal attack to hit multiple people. People definitely tend to group up in duo showdown, so Penny definitely not bad here. You can pair her easily with a Colt or Ricochet to deal a lot of damage that Penny isn't able to deal. Or you could do a Dynamite or a Crow, but you might be a little suspect as far as teams rushing you, especially who have more Elixir. Alright everyone, I wanted to keep this guide video a little bit shorter than I normally do, so let me know if you prefer a longer version for next time, and let me know if I should do a guide on how to play Frank as well. Guys, thank you so much for watching my How to Play Penny video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you later.